First. Good afternoon, Yatimwa. Welcome to the Ordinary Council meeting, Tuesday the 24th of February. Welcome, councillors and staff. We begin please note that today's council meeting is being live streamed and can be viewed by the general public via council's Facebook page and later uploaded to council's website. By participating in and addressing those present at the meeting, you consent to any information you disclose, including any personal information, sensitive information, being recorded and uploaded to the website. I'll ask Councillor Foster to read our opening statement.
Thank you, Mayor. As councillors, we recognise the responsibilities we carry and are guided by the values of service, respect and integrity. Good decision-making requires transparency, accountability and behaviours that uphold the trust placed in us as elected representatives of the community we serve.
Foster. Now I'll ask Councillor Murray to read the acknowledgement of country.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. We acknowledge the Kirra Wurrong as the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and pay our respects to elders past and present. And we extend that respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here with us today or watching along.
You have any apologies today? Remain no apologies. And through to the minutes, confirmation of minutes from the Ordinary Council meeting the 27th of January 2026. Any questions, councillors? Councillor Murray.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. I just wanted to make a note just for a correction. On page 117 of January's agenda, the first line states that our reflection and healing ceremony was held on January 20th, 2025. That date needs to be updated to 2026. And other than that, I'm happy to move these with that correction noted.
People like. Do we have a seconder? Foster, thank you. Councillor Murray, here's the mover. Nothing further. Councillor Foster is the seconder.
No, Mayor, thank you.
Does any councillor wish to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Murray? The motion to the vote. Those in favour of the motion? Thank you. It's carried 7-0. Any conflicts of interest? Yes. The participation. I now call for a motion to suspend standing orders to hear the public participants speaking. Councillor, thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Roy. All those in favour? Councillors. Participants online today.
Through me, yes, they are. So we just bring them online.
Right. So our first public participant is Louise Abicare. Stand by as we think Tim's her in. Hi, Louise, how are you?
Oh, hi there. Hi, councillors. Hi, Jordan. Thank you for this opportunity.
You've got
speaking now.
Yeah, you've got 5 minutes to speak. So
okay. Well, look, thank you for the opportunity, and we appreciated what you put in the report on page 24. Duly noted. So thank you. I have 3 questions, if I may read them out. Question 1 is: Council has heard from its Port Fairy and surrounds community and should now appreciate its sentiment regarding the closure of its beloved pool and understand how important it is to reopen the pool. The community has also expressed its understanding that it may need significant investment to reopen the pool. Is Council willing to embrace the community's capacity and capability to work together to reopen the pool? That's question 1. We understand that the aquatic facilities strategy will be a framework for decisions.
Yes, Abigail, sorry to jump in. Would you like me to actually, you read all your questions and then we'll respond. Might be clear.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right.
What do you want me to do?
Carry on.
Right. Yeah. So question 2, we understand that the aquatic facilities strategy will be a framework for decision-making regarding the development, redevelopment, management or otherwise of facilities, and generally has a long-term outlook. sometimes that can be as long as 10 to 20 years. What time horizon will council's aquatic facilities strategy cover? Is it 10-year strategy, shorter or longer? So that was question number 2. Question number 3 is, council has resolved to spend up to $100,000 on a technical assessment, essentially a condition audit, which will provide council with a detailed understanding of what is required to reopen the Port Fairy pool. Has a suitably qualified firm been appointed to undertake this work? And what is the expected timeline for a report to be presented to council on the technical assessment, seeking a council response? That ends my questions.
Thanks very much for the questions, Ms. Abicare, and we'll go through and answer some of those questions now, if that's okay.
Yes,
council
terrific.
has any questions of Ms. Abicare. Yeah. So the first question, I'm happy to respond that we'll send you a written response regarding that. But we also, item 2.1 today, we will be discussing, aquatic facilities, generally speaking. So, if you wanted to stay online, obviously, to watch that discussion, but
Sure.
we'll send
Thank you.
a written response as well. And then to answer questions 2 and 3, I'll throw over to the Director of Asset and Community, Mr. Arnott. Thank you.
Thank you, and through the Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Abicare. So in reference to question 2, the aquatic strategy is based on a 10-year outlook from 2026 to 2036. So 10 years is standard for strategies of this nature and allows those recommendations to be delivered over the period, especially if there's considerable cost involved. And to question 3, regarding the technical assessment or investigation. So I'm pleased to be able to announce today that a suitably qualified consultant was yesterday appointed to undertake the technical investigation. Council put a request for quotation out to 8 firms, both local and across the state, to quote for that work. The successful consultant, PM Design, are able to deliver the report as requested for consideration by council at the May ordinary council meeting.
Sorry, what was that last part?
The report will be for consideration at the May ordinary council meeting.
Yep. Lovely. Thank you. Thanks very much for that.
Thanks for your presentation, Ms. Abicare. Appreciate your time and energy. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now call upon our second public. Sorry,
Question.
Councillor Lucas.
You said questions?
Yeah, Councillor Lucas.
Thank you. PM Design, is that a local company or from out of town?
Through the Mayor. Warrnambool based, yes.
Honourable base, thank you.
Any other questions, Councillor Lucas?
No, that's all I can think of at the moment.
Stay tuned. Any other questions, councillors? Thanks for your presentation again, Ms. Abicare.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Okay, great. Bye.
Bye-bye. We'll now call upon public participant David Anderson to speak. Welcome to the Ordinary Council meeting, Mr. Anderson. How are you?
Very well, thanks. Can you hear me okay?
We can. Yep.
You can?
You've got 5 minutes time, so feel free to take your time.
Thank you. I'm actually going to try. Thanks for the opportunity today, Mr. Mayor and councillors. My question, I think you've seen. I don't think I will read it out if that's okay. My question was submitted prior to knowledge of the report that you're considering later in the meeting today in relation to the Port Fairy pool. And I'd just like to make a couple of observations on that if I can, related to my question. The first thing is that I think there's an opportunity today for council to put in place a process whereby the Port Fairy community is consulted on the possible reopening of the Port Fairy pool. The report canvasses that, it canvasses consultation, and I think today council has an to put that formally in place rather than the fairly generic recommendation, if I can call it that. The second point I'd make is that the report talks about the pool in terms of asset management. And I think it's important to note that in terms of strategic value, it's much more than that. It has obviously impacts on the community's health and wellbeing, on social connectivity, and indeed in terms of being an attractor to Port Fairy and to Moyne. So I'll leave it at that. I think we've moved on a bit from when, as I said, I submitted that question. So happy to take any questions, or I'll certainly be tuning in later when council considers the report.
Thanks, Mr. Anderson. In the words of Johnny Cash, I can hear the trainer coming. It's quite difficult to understand you with the broken service, but double pun there if you like. But yeah, but we'll do our best to, maybe if you wished to email through those second kind of questions you had, so that we can provide the response you're after, because it is quite difficult to hear you.
Well,
in terms of the community engagement, I'm happy to answer that question. Obviously I have met personally, and with Eversign, the CEO, we've met with the Port Fairy community group, the Save the Pool kind of committee, and obviously happy to continue to meet with them and meet with anyone regarding the Port Fairy community pool. That's my role and my job, and obviously other councillors as well. That's something we're here to do and elected to do. So. But yeah, we'll provide a written response. And I think it'd be important if you send through an email, then we can, clarify those other questions, because I've said it was a bit hard to.
Can I just add one thing through you, Mr. Mayor, please? I know you have met and there has been some consultation. What I think the community group is looking for is a much more formalised arrangement than, if I can call them, random meetings with the mayor, CEO, other councillors. And it's referred to in the report, some sort of advisory committee or consultative committee or whatever that might be.
Yep, thank you for your question and statement. And I think if depending on your service, in item 2.1, we may be discussing that kind of process going forward. So again, appreciate your presentation.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you. Travel safe. Did anyone have any questions for Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, I have one.
Councillor Lucas?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Anderson, in your question, you talk about a way forward to reopen the pool in Port Fairy. So I take it that you're not interested in whether a new pool is built or something alternative is provided. You want the pool that's there now reopened.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Basically, yes. I mean, the potential for a new pool in Port Fairy is there, but that is a 10-year project. I mean, that is not something that would happen. Port Fairy's had a pool for the best part of 20 years. It's operated well. It's well. Some of the history, I think that's in the past. So the main aim, as far as I'm concerned, is the reopening of the pool. Now, that may mission at least, and involving the community in the process to see if that can be achieved.
Mr. Anderson, Councillor Lucas?
I missed some of that, but
Yeah, it's quite tricky here. Yeah.
so follow up would be, what if the engineer's report comes back and says the pool is in such a bad state it can't be reopened? What happens then?
Through Mr. Mayor, that may well be the case, and I think the community would understand if there is a structural reason or some sort of reason that it can't be done.
It's getting more and more difficult to hear you, Mr. Anderson. And as I said before, if you could email through any of those questions you've got, then we can follow up. It's quite difficult to hear. And we've lost you now, I think. Oh, any other questions, councillors?
It's involvement in that process.
Thanks, Mr. Anderson. We appreciate
I've lost
your
you
questions. As I
guys.
said, if you can please email through your questions, then we can follow up. It's quite hard to hear. Thanks for your time.
I will do. I will do. Thank you.
Oh, comes good at the end.
Yeah. We now move on to invite public participant Alan Dobson to speak, please.
Hello.
Welcome, Mr. Dobson. You've got 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks for giving me the time. I've got just 2 questions, both relate to the pool. Question 1 is that in the 26-27 budget draft, can the council ensure that it will be allocating in the operating budget an amount consistent with the previous allocations to the Port Fairy pool, on the understanding that the community has a strong desire to see the pool reopen in the immediate term? Do you want me to go on with question 2?
Thank you.
Question 2, council revised the aquatics facilities community survey when it became aware that it was poorly worded and it did not reflect the fact that the Port Fairy pool had closed, and therefore the information collected may be misleading. Will council now be putting in place another process to adequately capture the community's views in relation to the aquatics facilities long-term strategy as it relates to Port Fairy?
Thanks for your presentation, Mr. Dobson. Did any councillors have any questions, Mr. Dobson? Okay. I'm happy to answer the first question, and I might throw it to Mr. Arnott, the Director of Assets and Community, for the second question, if that's okay.
Sure, thank you.
The first question regarding the budget, I've got a bit of a straight, short answer that it's a decision for council at budget time. Obviously, there is an extensive process we go through for the budget process, and that would be a decision of council at that time.
Okay, thank you.
In regards to the question 2, Mr. Arnott, thank you.
Thank you, through you. Yeah. So when designing the survey questions, it was important that the survey shouldn't give the impression that council had made a final decision on the future of the Port Fairy pool facility. Trying to strike the right balance in these unique circumstances admittedly wasn't easy. We heard from community that the questions needed more clarity, and we made that change in response. The additional text added to the survey to frame the Port Fairy specific questions was changed early in the open period to ensure community had time to make an informed response. In addition, the survey is one of a number of feedback mechanisms in the process, and specific feedback on the Port Fairy pool was also captured at the well-attended pop-up session. The intent of the various feedback mechanisms is to inform key user themes for the facility. So responses will be grouped together to capture key themes, aligned to each question and presented as part of the draft survey report. If there is a significant change in themes or trends from pre to post survey change, that will be acknowledged in the report and won't have a material impact on the report outcomes or recommendations.
Okay, many thanks.
Great. Any questions at all, councillors? Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Dobson, and obviously in item 2.1 we'll be discussing the aquatic facility. So appreciate your time and your presentation. You're supporting your community. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Now for promotion to resume standing orders. Councillor Ryan and a seconder, Councillor Murray. All those in favour? 7-0. Councillors. I'll now move on to item 2.1 and ask the Director of Assets and Community, Mr. to introduce the report. Thank you.
Through you. Following community expressions of strong support for aquatic access after the closure of the Port Fairy pool facility, this report seeks to confirm Council's commitment to exploring viable options and to undertaking a thorough, evidence-based assessment before making any long-term decision. Council acknowledged the importance of aquatic access to community However, significant unknowns remain regarding the condition, cost, and long-term sustainability of the existing facility or any alternative model. This approach balances responsiveness to community aspirations with responsible decision-making, protects council's long-term financial capacity and service delivery.
Thank you, Mr. Arnott. Questions, councillors? Councillor Murray.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. I guess this kind of leads into one of the questions as well from one of our public participants, but were we to, I guess, decide on this and commit to this today, is there anything in this that prevents us from then working with our community, partnering, I guess, to look at future, I guess, co-fundraising models or anything like that?
Thank you for the question. No, I don't believe so. No, I think all options are open through the content of the report.
Any other questions, councillors? Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, just thank you, through you, Mayor. Just with regard to the recommendation, I was just a little concerned with some of the wording. So, so just with regard to the use of the word "or," reads recognising the importance of aquatic access for the community, and I think it would be more specific to use the word "to."
Councillor Taylor, just check. Do you have a question?
Oh, well, I guess no. Not that I have other questions, but do I speak the motion as of the recommendation?
Just asking questions at this point. You can speak for or against the motion a bit later.
Oh, well,
yeah, it's just questions.
okay. I do have some questions. Well, in the office recommendation, where it says that we're to explore all viable options, so I'd like to understand that recognising that ratepayers in rural and smaller communities like Karamat, Warrnambool and Naringal, etc., contribute significantly to our shared budget, and their needs for basic assets mustn't be overshadowed. So I'd like to know, in assessing viability, will the strategy weigh Port Fairy's aquatic needs against those of other communities, including rural and smaller towns, to maintain fairness across all the ratepayers?
Through the Mayor, just a point of clarity, is that in regard to the aquatic strategy? Or
No, it's in regard to this. I'm speaking to the recommendation, where it actually says that we'll actively explore all viable options, and I'm just wanting clarification on what viable options means.
In terms of the Port Fairy pool discussion, that would mean any viable option for a provision for an aquatic facility within that Port Fairy area. So I think the aquatic strategy would look more to aquatic provision across the Shire, whereas this report is more focused on the Port Fairy pools.
Therefore, with regard to this motion, then how does that sit within the aquatic strategy? It's seen as separate to the aquatic strategy.
Through the Mayor, the aquatic strategy will look at aquatic provision across all of Moyne Shire and including those boundary shires, I guess. So what provision is there for all residents of Moyne Shire? This report is looking to recognise the importance of that, but I don't think by passing this motion would impact on that aquatic strategy.
Thank you. Any other questions, councillors? I have a question. Thanks, Mr. Arnott. Just to clarify, I was having a similar thing as Councillor Taylor regarding viable. Does that mean the possibility of repairing the existing building and or exploring a new facility. Does it kind of cover both of those options, if you like?
Thank you for the question through you. Yes, it does include all options, and I'd extend that to say council will have that decision, I guess, before them to understand what viable means in terms of a facility, and council will fund. However, yes, viable in the terms of this report would mean all of those options.
Councillor Ryan.
Through you, thank you, Mayor. Last minute question, just in terms of that, the use of viable in the recommendation, I just want to confirm that viable doesn't necessarily mean profitable. Council is a service provider, so I just want to confirm that viable doesn't mean profitable in this instance.
Yes, correct. That would be a councillor discretion.
Any other questions, councillors? Does anyone wish to move the officer recommendation? Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you, I'd actually like to move a motion that amends the wording of the recommendation that officers have presented us with today, just with a view to providing more clarity. Can I read that?
Please do.
That I'd like to move.
Thank you.
That council recognises the importance of access to the Port Fairy pool and gym facility to the Port Fairy Port Fairy and surrounding community. Point 2, commits to actively exploring all viable options for future provision.
Thank you, Councillor Foster. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Ryan. Councillor Foster as the mover of the amended motion.
Thank you, Mayor. Right, where do I start? As a Port Fairy resident myself, I want to personally acknowledge the hurt and the anger and the grief that our community has around the loss of what is obviously a much loved community asset. Some of us in this room have been on the receiving end of that emotion, very heightened emotions, and I do get it. My children learned to swim there, and it's been an important part of our lives as a family, just as it is an important part of so many other families' lives. I know that there will be a lot of people watching today and listening in who want us to commit to a new pool here and now today. But as councillors, we've got a moral, ethics and a legal obligation to make decisions that are in the best interests of the entire Shire. We're talking about public money here. So that means that we have to make decisions that are carefully thought through, evidence-based and fair to all of our residents. When it comes to community sentiment, I've listened very closely to the voices of the Port Fairy community, and I've listened to voices of other people in other areas of our very large Shire who quite clearly don't want their rates used to fund a new pool in Port Fairy. Just as this council has in the past listened to the voices of people who fought hard against wind farms and against the emergency services levy as examples that so unfairly burdens our farmers in particular, we need to listen to the voices that we're hearing today. That's what we do. We listen, we advocate for our community no matter where they live. I believe this motion doesn't commit us to any particular outcome, and that's fair. I think our community is intelligent and reasonable enough to understand there are too many unknowns for us to make any kind of a clear determination on what happens next. Not yet, anyway. So we can't change what's happened in the past, but we can decide to work together in a spirit of cooperation and collaboration. And none of us know really what the future is going to hold. There's a lot of work we need to do and some very big and probably decisions ahead. But I, for one, genuinely want to move forward towards a solution to this really complex problem we're faced with.
Thank you, Councillor Foster. Councillor Ryan, you as the seconder.
Yeah, I reserve my right.
Does anyone wish to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Murray.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. I would like to speak for the motion. And I just want to begin by acknowledging the very strong advocacy from past users and supporters of the Port Fairy Pool and Gym facility. It's been made very clear that aquatic access is deeply valued in Port Fairy and surrounds. I also want to acknowledge that this facility has been in our community for 20 years. So for 2 decades, it's been a part of everyday life for a lot of people, and I just want to acknowledge the genuine grief and sense of loss that our members in our community are feeling. I support the principle of a pool in the Port Fairy area, but I think it's really, really important to be very honest about where we are. This facility has only been under council's care and control for 5 weeks. In that very short time frame, officers have worked extremely hard to understand the condition of the asset, the risks involved, the compliance requirements, and any potential pathways and what they might look like. That is a significant body of work in a very compressed time frame. And there are still so many unknowns. Right now, we do not yet have the full technical assessment of the building, the pool shell, vent filtration systems, or the extent of mould remediation required. We do not know what it would cost to safely reopen the existing facility, whether that is even feasible, or what the long-term operational subsidy might look like. Aquatic facilities are complex, highly regulated, and expensive pieces of infrastructure. I know that the Port Fairy and surrounding community want a quick solution, but there simply isn't a band-aid solution here. This motion does not commit to a specific reopening date, a design, or any budget allocation. It is a commitment to do the proper work, to gather the evidence, understand the costs, explore funding pathways, and bring realistic and viable options back to our community. I've heard the argument that Port Fairy has the ocean and therefore shouldn't require a pool. And I respectfully disagree with that framing. The ocean is not a controlled, heated, or supervised environment. It does not replace structured learn to swim programs, rehabilitation services, or safe, shallow spaces for young children, older residents, or people of all abilities. A public pool and the ocean serve very different purposes, and I would argue that living in a coastal community actually strengthens the case for accessible aquatic facilities. When we live alongside water, ensuring that our community has the opportunity to build water confidence and safety skills in a controlled setting becomes even more important. I also believe that we need to be careful about suggesting that any council asset or facility must directly benefit every single resident or ratepayer in our shire in order to warrant consideration. That is simply not how regional infrastructure works. Our smaller towns have aquatic facilities that primarily serve their local communities, such as Macarthur, Hawkesdale, and Mortlake, and equity does not mean identical services everywhere. I genuinely believe the Port Fairy and surrounding community deserves aquatic access, but it also deserves a solution that is safe, financially responsible, and sustainable over the long term.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Does anyone else wish to speak for Councillor Taylor?
Thank you, through you, Mayor. I'm going to speak against the motion in its current form because the wording leaves ambiguity around what viable options means, how importance is attributed, and how equity across the Shire will be protected. Historical data shows committed memberships were low, average of 65 annual wet memberships, and daily usage was modest. Again, average of 58 casuals, resulting in substantial council subsidies over many years. So this underscores why the forthcoming investigation and strategy must rigorously test financial sustainability, including realistic revenue models and user commitment before any options deemed viable. We have seen with this very facility how loose commitments can lead to escalating unplanned burdens on ratepayers. So without clear guardrails, the motion risks creating expectations that the forthcoming evidence may not support. And I prefer to rely solely on the rigorous Shire-wide processes already underway, the technical investigation and aquatic facility strategy to guide any future decisions.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Any other councillor wish to speak for or against the motion?
Clarification here, thank you. This motion talks about viability options, etc. At the moment, we're getting an engineering report on the state of the pool that now exists down there.
So we have had questions on we're speaking for.
I'm seeking a clarification.
On that.
Certainly hope so. So we're getting an engineer's report on the whole pool, the structure and the pool shell itself, etc. And we're doing a strategy of pools within the Moyne Shire. Warrnambool, MacArthur, all of them. And that is a whole of Shire, whole pool strategy.
Yes, and insofar as speaking around pools, but also focused on the people and where they are and what their provision is.
Yeah, strategy that takes in communities around the pools, etc. Okay. No, that's all I needed, a clarification. Thank you.
So did you wish to speak for or against the motion, councillor Lucas?
No, Mayor, no, I don't.
Okay, yeah. No other councillors wish to speak for or against? I'll speak in. Second. I wish to speak for the motion. I agree with, as Councillor Foster and Councillor Murray has said, there obviously has been a lot of passion in the a lot of passion in the community, and you know, I've had hundreds and hundreds of conversations with people individually about what the pool means to them. One of the points that really struck me yesterday was someone was saying, you often say council looks after people from womb to tomb, and I think that's exactly what, you know, an athletics facility does. It's from newborn babies to, you know, people at the later end of their life with a, you know, ramp access. And so as a, you know, a user of the service myself, of over the years have, you know, seen many different people benefit from it in terms of the physical, the mental health, social connection, a sense of place. One of the points Councillor Murray spoke about is, I think we're looking at the asset a little bit differently, where, yes, of course, we have pools, great pools in Hawkesdale, MacArthur and Mortlake. They're only open for 3 months of the year. So this is the only, you know, whilst the only all-year pool in Moy. So I think, you know, that's a kind of a different way that we can look at it, where it's definitely not just Port Fairy people that use the pool, it's the surrounding kind of district that use the pool. We have an ageing population in Port Fairy. You know, this motion helps us give our community that we are committed to working with them, and that they, you know, that's really important to them, and something that we're hearing loud and clear from our community. Councillor Ryan, you reserved your right.
Thank you. Through you there. Let's quickly talk to Councillor Taylor's point. No expenditure is being approved here today, only exploration. So voting this down doesn't save ratepayers a cent. Passing the motion puts it on the record that council must actively look for solutions. So if exploration finds options that are too costly, council can deal with that at that point in time. I'd also want to talk to 3 things. The first is the facts, data and statistics in relation to aquatic strategies across the country and closer to home here in Victoria. Roughly 1/4 of national aquatic facilities have closed or are non-operational in the last 5 years. A Royal Lifesaving Society report states that 300 to 400 pools were identified as facing closure or replacement due to structural and financial viability issues between 2018 and 2023. The Australian Local Government Association estimated 500 pools nationwide require renewal or replacement within a decade. Secondly, I want to talk to why they are closing. And there's 5 main areas: ageing infrastructure, high maintenance costs, high energy costs, climate and population changes, and insurance and compliance pressures. I raise these 2 points, because we need to understand the context in which we are currently working in as a Shire. We want to enable long-term solutions and not short-term fixes. Now, I would like to draw people's attention to the work Council is doing since the Belfast Aquatic Committee closed the pool in November 2025. Shire has commissioned a Moy aquatic strategy prior to November last year, and have fast-tracked that process to ensure it meets current need. At the January 2026 Ordinary Council meeting, Council directed officers to undergo professional and formal technical investigations, which we spoke about earlier today. These investigations will equip council with detailed information, something we would not undertake if we did not believe that aquatic facilities within Moyne were beneficial. And ongoing behind-the-scenes work which officers have tirelessly been undertaking with no community recognition, because it is that, it's happening behind the scenes, and just because we're not seeing it doesn't mean it's not happening. Moynshire would not do this level of work if council didn't recognise the importance of aquatic access for our community. I want to make it extremely clear that this must be viewed in tandem with viable, sustainable commitments. We don't have all the answers, but we are committed to seeking them. We need our community to work with us, not against us, to enable this can occur as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. And now the mover, Councillor Foster, to sum up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I think this motion today is a commitment to do what we need to do, to find out what we need to know in order to make the decisions we know we have to make. This motion says clearly to our community and to every person who's used and loved the pool over the last 20 years, see you and we hear you. There has been, I think we'll all agree, so much community feedback around this that it warrants particular focus alongside the work we're already doing with our aquatic strategy and also the technical assessment. As Councillor Ryan said, we're not alone here. Later in today's agenda, we'll consider an advocacy message to our federal government, because I read recently around 40% of all public pools in Australia will be coming to the end of life in the next 3 to 4 years. So we're not alone here. There is some merit in working collaboratively as a sector across the country as well. I also appreciate concerns around what viability means, and also very much appreciate concerns around equity for ratepayers. And I think these are all concerns we all have front of mind, and we all have always had front of mind throughout this process. And we'll continue to flesh those out together as we move forward. So let's work together in a constructive and positive spirit to explore what might be possible.
Councillor Foster, we'll now put the motion to the vote. Those for the motion: Councillor Councillor Ross, Councillor Murray, Councillor Ryan, Councillor Foster, and Councillor Lockett. Those against the motion: Councillor Dukas, Councillor Taylor. The motion is carried 5-2. Thank you, councillors. We now move on to item 2.2, Ritchie Street petition. Now call upon Director of Assets and Community again, Mr. Arnott, to introduce the report. Thank you.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor. At the January 2026 Ordinary Council meeting, Council resolved to receive a petition titled Request for Resurfacing of Ritchie Street Pool Ferry. The petition, signed by 21 individuals, raised concerns regarding the condition of the road surface, the impact of heavy vehicle movements, and the presence of soil stockpiles within the road reserve. The petition also expressed concern that planned renewal works to resurface the sealed component of Ritchie Street does not include the unsealed vehicle turnaround area. The unsealed turnaround area was constructed by council some years ago to service waste collection vehicles and also provides secondary emergency access to the Gardens Caravan Park. Council has an adopted policy position which guides the management of requests to construct and seal unsealed roads. And the recommendations are before councillors for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Arnott. Any questions, councillors? No questions? Does anyone wish to move the officer recommendation? Councillor Murray.
Thank you.
I have a seconder.
I just wanted to propose.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go for it.
I would like to propose an amendment to the wording of the recommendation before us. And if it's okay, I'd like to read that proposed amendment out. Being item 2.2, amended motion that Council 1 undertakes maintenance and construction treatments on Ritchie Street, including the Court Bowl, to address surface condition issues identified through the petition process. 2, removes and reinstates soil stockpiles within the road reserve on Ritchie Street, west of the Court Bowl. 3, undertakes a review of the Moynshire Council Policy PS16. And 4, engages with the petitioners and residents of Ritchie Street to explain the outcome of council's decision.
Yep. Do we have a second, Councillor Foster? We do a second. Councillor Murray, as
Thank
the
you.
mover of the amended motion.
Through you. This has been, I firstly want to thank Ritchie Street residents for bringing their petition to us and for highlighting some of the issues they have in their street. It's actually brought forward to front of mind that the policy that we have, PS16, actually, we'd like to have a little review of that and amend that. So I thank them for bringing that to our attention. And I feel that this amended motion more accurately reflects the asks of the petition, which is why I propose it.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Councillor Foster as the seconder.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. We have policies for a reason, and I can see why officers have reached this particular recommendation or have made this recommendation. I think this situation is a bit different in that this particular street, Ritchie Street, provides emergency access to and from the caravan park at Gardens Oval area. And I think we've also contributed to the issue here. Let's be fair, because we have used the area to stockpile road making material. And the court bowl, as I understand it, is there in the first place to accommodate our garbage collection trucks. So I think there's a really strong case for responding to this petition and to the concerns raised within it by resealing not only the part of Ritchie Street that's already sealed, but also to seal the court bowl itself.
Anyone else wish to speak for or against the motion?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'll speak in support of the motion because it takes the pressure off the residents with co-contribution. I don't think they should be doing that. And the issue in the report talks about the fence. Can anybody tell me, is that fence still there? The illegal one?
Yes, I believe it to be in place at the moment, but soon to be removed.
Right, so what's that? 2 months or 3 months to get rid of an illegal fence? I just thought I'd make mention of that because not only am I unhappy with the slowness of the removal, but so are the residents. However, back to the bowl, the dirt bowl that the garbage trucks use. Yes, if we can get that sealed while we're doing the resheeting, it'll be a good outcome for those who've been living there with that dust issue for a very long time.
Thank you, Councillor Lucas. Any other council wish to speak for or against? To the mover, Councillor Murray, to sum up. Nothing further. I will now put the item to the vote. Those in favour of the motion is carried unanimous 7-0. So the motion is carried. Now move on to item 2.3, Koroit Youth Space Landscape Design Draft Concept Plan. That is an mouthful. Due again, Mr. Arnott, as Director of Assets and Community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. The 2026 Koroit Youth Space Landscape Design Plan concept has been developed in response to a community-led initiative. The concept has progressed following extensive community and stakeholder consultation and proposed enhancements to the existing youth space. The draft has been developed in partnership with the Project Community Reference Group. Participants expressed strong support and endorsement of the plan, including the options for staging the project. There was also ongoing commitment to raising contributing funds toward this initiative. The Koroit Youth Space Landscape Design Plan identifies the gap and community desire for additional passive and active recreational opportunities in the town. The recommendation to endorse the plan is before councillors.
Thank you, Mr. Arnott. Any questions, councillors?
Thank you, Mayor. Just to clarify, it is stated there, but just to be really clear that this is as yet unbudgeted for it.
Through the Mayor, thank you for the question. That's correct. So at the moment, this is essentially a master plan for the area, and any works associated with it would be subject to future capital works bids in council's budget process.
Any other questions, councillors?
Clarification, as I asked in the briefing, term landscape to me means green stuff. What's it mean to you?
Through the man, thank you for the question. I guess in the sense of this project and this design, it's an overall landscape plan, looking at all of the elements incorporated, be they concrete footpaths or pump track or the green elements as well. So incorporating all of those in one plan.
Follow. And so going forward, if money becomes available, we can pick parts of that so-called landscape plan and do whichever one we decided to fund or have grant money for.
Through the man. That's correct. There was lots of discussion throughout the consultation process about staging the project and bringing some elements of it forward that have the most need. So absolutely.
Thank you.
Councillor Lucas, any other questions at all, councillors? Does anyone have the recommendation? Councillor Ryan and a seconder, Councillor Foster. Ask the mover, Councillor Ryan, to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. I remember Ray, a community resident, a Koroit resident, approaching me at a candidacy event in October 2024, where he shared his wonderful idea for a pump track in Koroit with me and probably alongside many others in this room. This shows the project has been years in the making and a community commitment of hard work to get to this point. So I want to thank Ray for his ongoing advocacy on this project. I'd also like to say we're working extremely local on this project. Our consultant lives and works in Koroit, which adds another layer of community consultation we would not typically have access to. Koroit has the youngest demographic within the Moyne Shire, and with that comes a need to service and provide place-based activities for those young people. I think this concept plan is a great step in the right direction, albeit currently unbudgeted. But I encourage Koroit residents and those who would also use this facility beyond Koroit, who see benefit in it, to continually advocate for this incredible project. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Councillor Foster as the second.
Mayor, I remember that session, and congratulations to Ray and everyone else in the community who's really invested in this and driven it. And it's not only our young people who've been pushing for this. It's great to see service clubs and a whole range of other people. And as Councillor Ryan said, Koroit is home to our highest concentration of young people, and it's growing. It makes absolute sense that we invest in them and in enriching their lives. It's often been raised with me that there's not enough young people to do in Port Fairy, not enough to keep them there and keep them occupied. So I beg your pardon, that was a Freudian slip. Thank you. So it's really exciting to see these plans that have been put forward by the Koroit community. And even though it comes at a time when we all know that it's increasingly difficult to access funds, we can be really strong advocates to other tiers of government, because this is just the kind of community enriching project that I think all governments love to see happen. So fingers crossed.
Thank you, Councillor Foster. Does anyone else wish to speak for or against Councillor Taylor?
I just wanted to note that the pump track itself is designed to be quite a challenging one, and I think that's really great. Space.
Councillor Murray.
Thank you. Through you, echoing probably a lot of what's been said, but I was amazed in this report that it's estimated that 30% of Koroit's population is aged 10 to 24. It's a third of the Koroit community. So, and this has been community led. The community have asked for this. The community want this. The community have given their input. So I'm really, really excited to endorse this. And as Councillor Foster said, to work really hard to try and secure the funds to make this happen. Happy to speak for this.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. The other councillor wish to speak, Councillor Roth.
Yeah, I just encourage the community to download the report, go right through it and go through the line items of everything that's costed, and pick out the stuff we don't need pick out the stuff you do need and see if we can fast track that. So, because the costs are, they're fairly substantial. I'd like to see the contract get up, started ASAP, push the rest of the side. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Ross. Any other councillor wish to speak for or against the motion?
Well, you've got me clarification. I know where I'm going.
I'll speak in favour of the motion and just along the same lines as councillor Taylor, just to clarify that the pump track will be epic. It's the brief. I will now return to the mover, councillor Ryan, to summarise.
Nothing further.
Any further? I will now put the item to the vote. Those in favour of the motion, carried 7-0. Motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. Now move on to item 2.4, disability inclusion policy. And again, Mr. said, Director of Assets and Community. Thank you.
Through you. Pointshire Council has historically operated under the Disability Awareness Policy endorsed in 2016, which provided foundational guidance for inclusive practices across council services. In response to evolving legislative frameworks, community expectations and best practice standards, the policy has undergone a comprehensive review and update. The revised document is now titled the Disability Inclusion Policy, reflecting a shift from awareness to active inclusion. This update aligns with the Victorian State Disability Plan 2022 to 2026 and incorporates contemporary understandings of disability, including intersectionality, human rights and universal access principles. The updated policy represents a significant step forward in Council's commitment to equity, access and inclusion and provides a robust framework for ensuring all community members, including those with disability, can participate fully across Mortlake.
Any questions, councillors?
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Mr. Roberts, I wanted to ask, given our duty of care regarding our own staff's psychosocial wellbeing, have we assessed the impact of expanding behavioural and relational expectations on our frontline employees, particularly when they're in the high stress service areas of the organisation?
Thank you for your question. Yes, that has certainly been a consideration. Staff have been offered training both this year and ongoing as part of our regular training program, and around 50 staff members opted into that training this year. Staff are especially offered training on the Hidden Disability Sunflower program, where staff can have the option to wear a supporter lanyard to identify themselves as understanding hidden disabilities to customers.
Thank you, Mr. Arnott. Any other questions, councillors? No questions. Does anyone wish to move the officer recommendation? Councillor Ryan. And a seconder, Councillor Foster. You, Councillor Ryan.
Through you, thank you, Mayor. For nearly a decade, Council has been guided by a policy built around awareness. And while awareness was a meaningful starting point, awareness alone does not remove a barrier, does not open the door, and does not guarantee a person with a disability a seat at the table. This does. By shifting our language and our lens away from awareness and towards inclusion, we are signalling something important, that disability is not a problem to be acknowledged, but a human experience that our services, our spaces, and our culture must genuinely accommodate. This is the kind of leadership our community expects from us, and I commend the work undertaken to date.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Councillor Foster is the seconder.
Thank you, Mayor. It's hard to follow from that one, but I guess it's heartening to hear so many of our team members have put their hand up to receive this additional training, that they care enough to do that. I think that's wonderful. And really, I think whatever we can do to make sure every single person in Mortlake feels supported and feels at home, we should be.
Now wish to speak for or against the motion? We'll now ask Councillor Ryan to move it to some.
Nothing further.
Nothing further. Thank you. I'll now put the item to the vote. Those in favour of the motion. The item is carried 7-0. Thank you, councillors. Now move on to item 2.5. Thanks. Director of Assets and Community, Mr. Arnott, to introduce the report, Community Care Bi-Monthly Management Report. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor, and through you. Councillors, this report is provided to councillors with the relevant information about council's aged care services as required under the Aged Care Act 2024. The officer recommendation is that councillors receive and note for information the Community Care Bi-Monthly Management.
Any questions, councillors? Councillor Ryan.
Through you, thank you, Mayor. Mr. Everstein or Mr. Arnott, can you please advise how long the Care Link system issues have been occurring and whether council will formally escalate this with the vendor or the department?
Mr. Everstein, to defer to Mr. Arnott.
Yeah.
Response, thank you.
Thank you, through the Mayor. Thanks for the question. So CareLink has been down since the changes to the system at the start of November and has been escalated to the department. Council has been in regular contact with the Deputy Secretary for Digital Transformation about the issue, which is affecting not only Shire but a number of aged care providers across the sector. The team are continuing to work through these issues and there has been some progress of late, so
Any other questions, councillors?
Thank you,
Councillor
Mayor.
Lucas.
Mr. Arnott, this CareLink is a computer type system. It's not been working properly, so they must be working on it. So there'd be extra costs. Does the government pick up those costs or is the company liable to fix the problem at no extra cost?
through the Mayor, can speak partially to that question. That the software provider is a third party provider, so a private company, but it is our link between the government system and our system. So we're in negotiations with that.
Over the cost to fix the problem. Is there any idea what that cost might be?
Through the Mayor, I'd have to take that.
Okay. So because it's not working, we're not getting paid. So how far behind are we in payments? Thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, million?
Yes.
Still that a bit closer.
Yeah. And so Smith was.
Yes, Councillor Dukas, this is included in the monthly finance report. We estimate at the moment that we're behind around 500,000, but those costs will be recouped once the system is back online and we can process through Services Australia. So we'll still receive those payments. We just can't get the
right.
the data.
So about 500,000 has to come out of our budget somewhere to pick up the shortfall. Right. You must have a good piggy bank somewhere.
Mr. Everstein, thank you.
Might just, through you, Mayor, just to clarify, yes, that's correct. From a cash flow perspective, we would have expected to have received another 500,000 by now. So from a cash perspective, that's correct. We're expecting those payments to come from a later date, which will we expect by the time we see our final year accounts, all of that to be caught up, both from a cash and a financial performance perspective.
So why can't we invoice the government and they can take that invoice on, I suppose, good nature, and when the system's up and running, they can reconcile any shortfalls or overpayments or something. So not only us, but other councils aren't left $500,000 in the red, actually.
Yeah, I'm further on this one.
Thompson, thank you.
Councillors, Councillor Dukas, the money is held by council, the money for those services has to be assigned to people's care packages.
Right.
So it has to go through the proper systems and be accounted for. So we have to upload data into Services Australia against individual packages. There's a whole heap of data that has to go through for them to then be able to apply that funding back to us. It's quite a complex process.
And it can't be done with pen and paper.
It would be a very lengthy process to do it with pen and paper. It's something I guess we could explore with Services Australia, but it looks like it will be back online pretty quickly.
They said that in December.
Any Any further questions, councillors?
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Possibly.
Through you, Mayor.
Yeah.
So just a thought on this issue. When it comes back online, what is the consequence to our staff to have to put is the data is not in the system, is that correct?
Through the mayor, to a point, yes, the link is not working. So yes, there is going to be a considerable backlog of administrative work to get those payments through, and that is going to have an impact on council staff.
Just a couple of things. And it will have a financial impact over and above what we're getting reimbursed. So will we, in other words, will we be disadvantaged?
Through the mayor, I would expect we would need some additional staff hours to be able to process all of that backlog.
And what can that additional cost be recouped from government?
Through the mayor, that's a reasonably tricky question because the software provider is a third party, so a private business. So there's a little bit more to that perhaps.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Yeah, one more,
Councillor Dukas.
please. We're talking software now, so the only thing I know about software is it's soft. Where does it tie in with Coastal Connect? Because it's a new system, so is it going to overtake this one that's not working, or are we going to have two?
Through the mayor, this is a standalone piece of software specifically for that sector, so no, won't be replaced by Coastal Connect.
Any further questions, councillors? Does anyone wish to move the officer recommendation? Councillor Ryan. And the seconder? Councillor Ross. Thank you. Councillor Ryan is the mover.
Through you, thank you, Mayor. What this report demonstrates is that our aged care services remain fundamentally sound. Our most vulnerable residents are continuing to receive the care they need and our compliance obligations are being met. I want to acknowledge that there is genuine effort from our community care team in maintaining service levels and compliance during what has been clearly a challenging period. The ongoing issues with CareLink IT system are a real concern, but not because they reflect poorly on our staff, who are working as hard as they can within the situation, but because delays in federal funding claims have real consequences for the financial sustainability of the service. It's something I know our staff are working tirelessly to resolve, and I thank them for their efforts.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Councillor Ross is the seconder. I think that, does anyone wish to speak for or against the motion?
Can I have another clarification, please? This,
Yes.
what they call this thing, this software company, that's owned by us or the government? Who own it?
It's
Through the mayor, it's a private business owns the software, which we pay.
You pay a license fee.
Thanks us for the government.
So we've got to put money in. Are they going to reimburse us interest on the money we have to put in because we can't access government funds? Or do we just have to wear that?
Through the mayor, I think that's something for discussion.
For this at a later date. Are they, with your discussions, are they sort of inclined to accept responsibility and make good, not only the software, but, you know, compensate us a little bit for the inconvenience?
Through the mayor, I can't speak to that sort of detail at this point, but happy to follow up.
Thank you.
Councillor Dukes, we may have an update workshop too. It's a complex kind of issue.
Send them a letter saying,
Okay.
act together.
I now refer back to the mover, Councillor Ryan.
Nothing
to
further.
nothing further. I will now put the motion to the vote. Those in favour? Carried 7-0. Thank you. Now move on. Thank you, Mr. Hunt. If you like. We now move on to item 2.6. National General Assembly motions 2026. Director of Corporate and Governance, Ms. Robertson, to introduce the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, this report relates to Council's advocacy role through the Australian Local Government Association's National General Assembly, which is held in June 2026. The Assembly provides an opportunity for councils across Australia to raise matters of national significance, and the draft motions before us seek endorsement so we can submit those to the Assembly.
Thank you, Ms. Ross. Any questions, councillors? No questions? Does anyone wish to move the officer recommendation? Councillor Murray, seconded Councillor Foster. Councillor Murray as the mover.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. As Councillor Foster alluded to earlier, this is our opportunity to look at local issues that are also affecting people on a federal, international way. And it's our way to get some advocacy from the federal government. So I would like to thank the officers for their sort of tireless work in pulling these together. There are guidelines every year. There are themes that you have to sort of mould the motions into, and they've done an amazing job. And I'm really looking forward to having these discussed at the National General Assembly in Canberra, and hoping that one can make a bit of noise on a federal stage.
Sorry. Councillor Foster is the second.
Thank you, Mayor. I think these motions address a number of very big, complex issues that impact all of our lives. So if anyone's taken time to read through them, there are 4 there. The first one is challenges for coastal councils to deal with coastal hazards associated with our changing climate, not least of which is the alarming cost around that. Also roads and road safety, AI and cybersecurity, and of course, swimming pools. So I think it's great that we can take this leadership on these issues and join with our colleagues from across the country in addressing issues that affect all of us. And I look forward to your successful debating at the National General Assembly there.
Councillor Foster, does any councillor wish to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Sachs.
Speaking very briefly for the motion, I think they're a set of practical motions, submissions. So I think it's positive.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Yeah, speak in favour of the motion and agree that I think these are the best ones that we've ever put up. So congratulations to the officers. And a lot of work's gone into this. It's not just something that's been whipped up today. It's been a lot of back and forth, and that goes with any report, but in particular this, I think we've really crafted something that's of national significance, but hugely significant to the great show of morning. Move the Councillor Murray. I think I'll now put the motion to the vote. Those who wish to speak for them, who wish to vote for the motion, thank you. Motion is carried 7-0. We now move on to item 2.7, proposed sale of Lot 1 Campbell's Lane in Mortlake, Victoria 3272, which is a notice of intention to sell. Over to Ms. Robertson, Director of Corporate and Governance. Thank you.
Okay. Councillors, this report seeks approval to proceed to the next stage of selling Lot 1 Campbell's Lane in Mortlake, following completion of a public notice process. Through that process, one submission was received and is acknowledged within this report. All statutory obligations under section 114 have been met.
Questions, councillors? No questions. Does anyone wish to move the officer recommendation? Councillor Dukas and the second, Councillor Ross. Councillor Dukas, that's the mover.
Thank you, Mayor. Straightforward procedural matter. The quicker we get it over and done with, the quicker we can bank the money and pay our bills. Seeing that whatever it is, that software is not working.
Thank you, Councillor Dukas. Councillor Ross is the seconder.
Just be turning out as from the way to go. Put it off.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Does any other councillor wish to speak for or against the motion? No. I mean, I'll move to the
No need, Mayor.
no need, but then I'll put the motion to the vote. Those in favour. is carried 7-0. Thank you, councillors. We now move to item 2.8, the monthly financial report for January 2026. Director of Corporate Governance, Ms. Robertson.
Councillors, this is the monthly finance report, as the title indicates, provides details of council's financial performance as at 31st of January 2026 and forms part of council's regular financial oversight.
Any questions, councillors?
Can someone point out to me where that around 500,000 is that we've had to find, please?
Through you, Mayor. Councillor Dukas, that is detailed in the attachments on page 165, attached Appendix A, the financial statements. And there's a note there, note number 1, points out the Clankeard package. So it relates back to user fees and fines in the revenue.
Right, so it's just, I suppose, just a figure amongst all the other user fees and fines.
So, through you, Mayor, Councillor Dukas, it's reflecting that our year-to-date actuals are below our forecast because we haven't received that money. And once that comes through, that will sort of resolve itself.
Thank you. User fees. Yeah, I just thought, why user fees and fines? But don't matter. It goes where it's meant to go. So thank you very much.
Any other questions, councillors? Does anyone wish to move the officer recommendation? Councillor Taylor, thank you. And the seconder? Councillor Foster. Thank you. Councillor Taylor is the mover.
No, just happy to go through it.
Councillor Foster is the seconder.
Just to say that everything's pretty much on track for this time of the year, which is encouraging and gives me a level of comfort.
Does anyone else wish to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Taylor as the mover. I will now put the motion to the vote. Those in favour of the motion is carried 7-0. Thank you, councillor. We now move on to item 2.9, Festivals and Event Funding Guidelines Review 2026-27. Director of Economy and Place, Mara, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, the Festival and Event Funding Guidelines for the upcoming 26-27 round have been reviewed. As a matter of course, we do review guidelines of this nature. However, we do note that councillors have provided a request that we bring this one forward, which we've done. A substantial sort of, I guess, checking on the existing guidelines and what we can do to improve has been undertaken. With that, several changes recommended. And the aim of the changes is to provide a stronger weighting criteria and an easier decision-making matrix that will assist council boards in awarding funds for the funding round. We do recommend that the council will approve the revised guidelines, and we'll open up. Thank you.
Mara, questions, councillors? No questions? No. It's
clarification.
Clarification.
Thank you. Because we don't have a marquee anymore, there are a lot of clubs find it difficult to raise the funds to hire a marquee because they're very expensive. But I understand why we got rid of them, because it was just, apart from being too much trouble, it was high risk. If people apply to this for funding to hire a marquee, would it be appropriate to actually do it this way, or through festival and events, or some other form of, I suppose, funding for those community groups that need a marquee. So can we pencil that in for a workshop, please? Because it doesn't sort of fit within this, that, or the other. It's just something that's came about because the marquees are they're no longer there.
Thanks for the question, Councillor Lucas. McNamara.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Dukas. Certain clubs or community groups, if they're running a particular event, are able to apply for things like that through the Community Assistance Fund. That might be the earlier avenue for them to access, and also within this festival.
I think a little bit of it's to do with timing.
Yeah, that's it. So
the timing for the festival and events in relation to their actual acceptance. So anyway, going forward, we can fine tune that to make it easier for those community groups.
Yep.
Would be great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. McNamara.
Any other questions?
That's coming also adjourned in Queensland.
Does anyone wish to move the officer recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Ryan. And seconder, Councillor Foster. Councillor Ryan as the mover.
Thank you, Mayor. Festivals and events are how communities come together, how local economies get a boost in shoulder seasons, and how a place develops a sense of identity and pride. Getting our grant framework right matters, and I think the revised guidelines before us today represent a genuine improvement. These guidelines are a product of feedback and genuine effort to improve transparency for applicants, and I value the work done by officers, and I welcome the revised framework.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Councillor Foster as the seconder.
Thanks, Mayor. I think we're really refining this as we go along with the support of our officers. So I think we're getting better and better at it. And I agree with Councillor Ryan. This isn't just an economic issue. The festivals and events bring so much positivity in terms of social connection, bringing communities together, giving us something to celebrate. And the marathon and running festival at the weekend is just one example of that. I just also want to remind people that there is help. We've got a great team and they're available to help with not only inquiries but also applications if people find it a bit overwhelming. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Foster. Well said. Any councillors wish to speak for or against the motion? No, I'll speak for the motion. Just as Councillor Foster said, Councillor Ryan, it's I think one of the best things we do as a shire. It's really exciting. I think we could often be referred to as the wind turbine kind of shire, but we're the wind festival shire, if you like. I think we've got an amazing range of diverse events across the shire, and again these guidelines help shape and be the wind in the sails of the community. I will now return. Now return to the mover, Councillor Ryan.
Nothing further.
Nothing further. Thank you. I will now put the motion to the vote. Those in favour? 0. Thank you, councillors. Now item 2.10. Councillor Events, Director of Corporate and Governance, Ms. Robertson. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, this report seeks endorsement of councillor attendance at the identified upcoming events.
Any questions, councillors? Anyone wish to move the officer recommendation? Councillor Murray, thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Ross, thank you. Councillor Murray as the mover.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. This is quite operational and a requirement, so I'm happy to move this one.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Councillor Ross is the seconder.
It's a long go.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Does anyone wish to speak for or against the motion? No. I will now to the mover, Councillor Murray. Nothing further. I'll now put the motion to the vote. Those in favour? 0. Carry. Thank you, councillors. We now move on to item 3.1, Mayor and Councillor activities. Any comments? Insights? Councillors, item 3.2, notice of motion. Councillor notice of motion, there are none. General matters, item 3.3. Does any councillor have any general matters? Councillor Murray.
Thank you, through you. There. Right, wrote everything down. This month I attended the Port Fairy Championship sheepdog trials, and I just wanted to give a shout out to that event. It's amazing. They are, I think it's fair to say, they are probably the most grateful group of people that I've ever come across in my lifetime. They love being here. They're happy to be here. They love coming back. I've heard from numerous people that were attending this year that the Port Fairy ground at Guards Oval is their favourite ground in the entire country. So they're just really appreciative of council, really appreciative of the community, and it's just a really nice energy to be around. So thank you guys for coming. We can't wait to see you next year for we're getting close to the 50th, might be the 48th next year. I also wanted to, the Mayor and myself, last week or 2 weeks ago, we went out to Warrandoo and we had the pleasure of being there as the Salt Creek Academic Scholarship was awarded. This is something that was founded by the Coy family in conjunction with Tilt Renewables, the wind farm, the Salt Creek wind farm, and it's absolutely phenomenal. The Coy family, particularly Peter Coy, he recognised that rural kids are at pretty big disadvantage when they are looking to get into tertiary study. And so he partnered up with Tilt Renewables out at Salt Creek, and they've come up with this scholarship. It's really, really well subscribed to every year, and they hand out one academic scholarship to a rural kid. It goes up each year, but it's about $34,000 at the moment. Every single person that has ever received a scholarship has said they would not have been able to attend tertiary education without that scholarship. It is changing people's lives, and I'm so grateful to them that they do this, and to the Coy family for having the foresight to do this and continuing it on. And a big shout out to Justin Hyland, who was this year's recipient. He's studying a Bachelor of Science at Melbourne Uni, and he's had a really, really tough year. His father passed away a couple of weeks before his 12 exams, and he's just a really incredible person, and I wish him all the best. And finally, I just wanted to shout out fellow councillor Susan Taylor, who has just commenced the Australian Institute of Company Directors course. I've heard it's incredibly difficult, and so I'm wishing you all the best, and I can't wait to hear how it goes, and look forward to being able to see AICD at the end of your name. GAICD. More acronyms in.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Any other councillor wish to? Councillor Taylor.
Yes, thank you. Look, I would just like to mention the opening of the Koroit Community Garden on Sunday. There was a very strong turnout at the event, which was lovely, and a lot of joy, I think, amongst the people attending. There was a sausage sizzle, tea in real teacups and saucers, flourishing garden beds, and even gingham bunting carrots to decorate the site. So it was just a lovely morning, and it just showed how hard work and persistence in the community bring that lovely garden to fruition. And there was a drop of rain at some point, but we didn't get caught on. And I think it's a great sign of a great future for the garden.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Any other councillors have? Councillor Ross.
Yeah, I'd just like to give a shout out to all the ag enterprises with the bull sales that are going to buy at the minute. Some passed, but some still come. Hopefully the bids are flowing hard and fast. And I'd also like to thank Councillor Dukas, the driver around the Koroit the field day showgrounds and
private viewing.
And that event's going to be bigger than Van Hove. Thank you, Councillor Lucas.
Thank you.
Councillor Lucas.
Yeah, well, I'll mention firstly the Hawksville Ladies Cricket. If you looked at the paper, they were premiers. Well done to the ladies. I had Downey bull sales, which I believe went well because those selling weren't disappointed in the price and those buyers weren't too disappointed in the price they paid for them. So it seemed to be a good bull sale where both buyer and seller are happy. The Croyd Field Day and Show event was a real ripper. Councillor Susan Taylor was there. We didn't cross paths, but don't matter, next time. It was, as Councillor Ross said, it was a great event. And I congratulate those exhibitors because some of that equipment wouldn't be easy to get there. I mean, it was, you need half a day to walk around some of the cedars and, you know, those tractors you can do with an elevator, they're that big. So yeah, congratulations to them. And maybe we should, going forward, look at reinstating the old Warrnambool Show day off for Croyd. Have the Friday off because it would be a boomer for the rural community if we could have that Friday. So I don't know whether we have to give a day up or we'll just do it Dan Andrews and give ourselves one. Going forward with something we'll look into.
Thank you.
So well done to the Moon Shire overall over the weekend. They were winners in a lot of fields.
Thank you, Councillor Burkett. Does any other councillor have any general matters? I've got a couple. Again, I think a fantastic few weeks across the Shire. Port Fairy Jazz Festival was on the 13th, 14th and 15th, and that was another booming success. They're doing a fantastic job. Congratulations to the committee and all the volunteers again. They kind of call it like the pre-season for the folk and for the community in Port Fairy. And then last weekend, just gone the 21st of Feb, the Port Fairy Marathon, they had over 2,800 participants. It was astonishing. So in its fifth year, it started out as a small little fundraiser for the Port Fairy Consolidated School. It's one of the biggest marathons in the country within 5 years. So and it's done purely by volunteers. So massive shout out to that committee. They do a phenomenal job. And congratulations to all the people. I've got sore legs from running the 1.5. So it blows my mind that, you know, all the stories, and I think it was a real celebration of humanity. There was some amazing kind of stories of people overcoming adversity and just, you know, running that far is overcoming adversity in itself. So congratulations to all of those people. A couple of upcoming events, obviously the biggest event in our Shire, bringing over 10 million to the economy and countless wonderful tunes for the rest of people's lives and making memories, is the Port Fairy Folk Festival. That's on the 6th to the 9th of March. And as I said, it's the biggest event in the Shire, so very exciting. That's the 49th. Maybe the sheepdog and folkie needs to be after the 50th next year, but yeah, that's huge. The folkie's on the course again. And then coming up, we've got a Federation picnic in Mortlake on the 29th of March. Vintage cars, food, music, positive vibes. So that's great. That's coming up in late March in Mortlake, of course, at the Tea Tree Lake. Any other councillors got any general matters? Urgent business, item 3.4, there are none. Now move on to item 4.0, CEO meeting schedule and activities report. Is there, so thank you.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Thanks for the opportunity to provide an update on behalf of the council team. Great to get along to and see a lot of those events mentioned. I think it has been a wonderful few weeks right across Moon Shire. Also got along to the Mortlake Sunday Market recently and acknowledged the Hexham Wind Farm, providing an opportunity for community to talk to them there and some other events as well. But that was going really well that day. So a shout out to all of those stallholders and visitors to the market. Just like to acknowledge the council team that support a lot of these events in the background. Anywhere from our events team working alongside a lot of these volunteers and supporting. Our caravan parks get very, very busy with a lot of these events. Into our visitor centres, our libraries pick up a lot during these days as well. Our waste, of course, waste management, our open spaces team, making sure a lot of these areas look sharp ahead of the event. Local laws, traffic management, all of these sort of things occurring as well. So it's a really busy time for our team. So I'd just like to thank all of our team at council who have been supporting those events and working really well. And the feedback I get from all of those organisers is the relationship with council is really good. And we work really well to supporting one another to make sure these events run successfully. Also, I spent a lot of my month getting around to community groups, so a couple that I visited, and I thank those that allow me to join those groups. But more recently, they were Paramount, a second meeting with, I think we had at least 25, maybe 30 attending that second meeting in early February. So shout out to them, really enjoyed that conversation and things that we can work together on behalf of Council for the Carama community. And also the Panmure Action Group also in early Feb, some great things happening there in Panmure. So just on more broad topics for council work to update you on. Firstly, with roads, our resealing program is now 65% complete. You'll see a lot of our trucks and activity moving forward in and around Croydon and Port Fairy in particular in the weeks ahead. Our resheeting program, 60% completed. We're doing about 44% more resheeting kilometres this year than we did last year. Also, our road rehabilitation program, we're focusing at the moment on Hopkinsville Road, from Wangoom Road to Allensford Wangoom Road, Hughes Road, Markwell Road and the Darlington Terang Road. Our rehabilitation program for roads is up 120% on last year, this year. So just acknowledging a lot of work to be done on roads, and that's a couple of ways in which council is investing a lot more resources to cover much more territory this year than we did last year. On early years, if you read the report, there is an error in the report. It misstates our position in January. Our early year enrolments in council operated facilities is up 6 placements, so that's about 2% on last year. So we will make that correction for next month, but it's 346 enrolments in our own facilities that are in place at the moment. So really important we continue that work to increase our access to early years. We've got some other activity happening later this year to further increase those numbers, so we'll report back to you on that as those events occur. On our projects and asset maintenance type work, so Croy Township renewal is one of the big projects underway at the moment. It's recommenced after the Christmas break. So we're looking at ETAs for those works to be completed. Commercial Road looking at July and High Street by October. We've got events like the Croy Festival in the meantime to work with, so we're working closely with that group along with business owners and the like on those roads to try and minimise the disruption, but really looking forward to that project being completed in the months ahead. A lot of our renewal works at the moment include footpaths in Dunlop Street, Mortlake, Warrnambool Caramat Road in Maylers Flat, River Street, Port Fairy. We're also working on the Port Fairy Gardens grandstand and electrical infrastructure there at the Gardens Caravan Park, Kirkstall Hall, MacArthur Senior Sits and MacArthur Kindergarten. So lots of asset renewal maintenance type work underway at the moment. On the Gibb Street Bridge in Port Fairy, another big project on its way with us right now. So everyone remembers we did secure the $5 million funding to replace the bridge through the Safer Local Roads and Infrastructure Fund back in August last year. So tenders have been provided and considered. So that announcement is now occurring. So we look forward to bringing that decision on those tender awards in the March OCM. So getting a really important milestone for who will design and construct that bridge only a few weeks away for us. Community feedback opportunities to us. So a few programs, the Aquatic Facility Strategy has been mentioned, so that's open until the 2nd of March. We have the Draft Environment and Sustainability Strategy, that's open until the 22nd of March. You can pick both of those up through Engage Moyne and other means. Also, just to let the community know, there is the 2026 Community Satisfaction Survey. That is a method where an agency called TKW Research will contact members of the community for that feedback. So that's the way that particular survey operates. So you may get a call somewhere in the weeks ahead. And last but not least, we have currently the Community Assistance Fund Round 2 open, and that's open until the 13th of March with grants of up to $15,000. So you can pick up that information through our website or obviously give us a call or an email to get further information. That is it. Thank you very much and happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Everstein. Always a very comprehensive, thorough report and lots happening across the Shire. Any questions, councillors? That's all right.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Just two questions, Mr. Everstein. Can you please confirm the anticipated timeline for the completed aquatic facility strategy to come before council for a decision?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Councillor Ryan for the question. So that'll be the June OCM for that report.
Thank you. And second question, can you please advise when council can expect a recommendation on the Gibb Street Bridge design and construct tender?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Through you, Mayor. So Councillor Ryan, that'll be in the March OCM, so next month.
Thank you. I
Yes,
think our
Ryan.
community very much enjoy getting a big Gibb Street Bridge update next month.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any other questions, councillors?
Yes, thank you,
Councillor
Mayor.
Lucas?
Mr. Everstein on page. Doesn't matter. Under Port Fairy Pool Facility, talks about the management and oversight of asset handover. Correct me if I'm wrong, but was the pool meant to be handed over in a going condition?
Through you, Mayor. Yes, there are obligations with Make Good under that licence agreement.
Right.
So,
No, right. I was just going to ask about the gym equipment. Does that matter?
Yes.
Yeah, I might just step out.
Yep.
just in case.
Sorry, just a conflict of interest. Councillor Murray, do you wish to?
Sorry.
Might want to declare what you're doing through.
Just because Councillor Dugas is asking a question that relates to the former Belfast Aquatics Committee, I'm just going to declare a conflict of interest. I'm not sure what the questions will be, but I think
Sorry, but
that's okay. No,
just
it's okay.
come up with it.
Yeah.
I just think for transparency, it's better that I go.
For sure. Thank you, Councillor Murray. We'll just wait a sec. Councillor Lucas, thank you.
Listen, if the gym equipment,
Just, sorry, wait. He's left
the
the
gym
chamber.
equipment gone to Footy Club, I would have thought in the handover that equipment would now belong to the Shire.
there's some, through you, Mayor. I can take that all. Australia, do you want
Do you want to take it on notice?
Through the Mayor, I think that, yes.
That on those.
Yes, yeah, no, I'm happy
Any other
with it.
questions at all?
I just realised now that when I was reading and people talked about the pool that it was meant to come to us going, we were out of pocket. Well, we should not out of pocket. We just haven't acquired that facility for its true value. And now, if the gym equipment's gone, you know, where's their responsibility there? I would have thought that the handover, everything would have come to us. That's all, but take it on notice. I'm happy with that. I don't expect you to know it. I didn't realise the question till 10 minutes ago anyway.
Councillor Dukes.
Yeah, that's it, I'm done. No, I haven't one more.
No, he's joking.
I'm joking.
Any further questions for Mr. Everstein, councillors? Welcome back, Councillor Murray. Do you have any questions at all for Mr. Everstein on his report? Thank you. I now call for a motion to suspend standing orders in order for us to consider it, and I think of that to Councillor Ryan as the mover, seconded Councillor Foster. Now, seek a vote to move this suspended orders. Moved unanimous 7-0. Thank you, council staff, councillors. Thank you for today's ordinary council meeting. Stay safe and wonderful. Peace. Work. Thank you.